Revopoint very kindly sent me their Revopoint Mini 3D scanner. Here I am eagerly unboxing it when it arrived at work. This is something I've been wanting for quite a long time, so I was very excited to get on and use this. But very nicely boxed. It's got a quality feel to it. I start by unboxing and setting up the little mini turntable. This is a lovely neat little bit of kit. Runs off a USB lead and it's got clockwise, counterclockwise and off, and plus variable speed. It's got marker dots on the top and a sticky pad so that the top sticks to the base. That's the charging lead. Then it's on to unboxing the scanner itself. So you get a little calibration screen, phone holder, should you want to use that, little USB adapter, and some leads. There's also some marker dots for scanning, and a very neat little tripod, which can be used as a handle as well. But this tripod proved to be very versatile and perfect for this little scanner. Also included is this mini statuette bust, and of course the scanner itself, which feels really nicely made and is a lovely small size. But all very well packaged, and there it is. The first thing I scanned, and I did this within minutes of unpacking it really, is the little statuette. And here it is once I've scanned it. I didn't show the actual scanning of this because just about every video on YouTube on Revopoint shows people scanning this little bust. So I didn't think there was much point in repeating that, but here is the finished scan, and here it is printed out in resin with the support still attached. And here is the finished article next to the original. Not the best resin to showcase this, it's a bit translucent. Anyway, on to something more challenging. This is a European badger skull that I got given years ago. I started off trying to scan it whole, but it's a bit too complex with the mandible attached. Badgers have unusual mandibles in that they're locked in place. They've got a real proper hinge joint. So they're a bit fiddly, but if you disarticulate it, so the upper and lower jaw are separate, then you can scan them separately, and it makes it a lot easier. So I start by scanning the upper jaw, or the cranium. And there it is on the turntable. And you can see the blue light. And I'm changing the height of the scanner and the angle of the skull. I'm doing several different angles to try and capture all the different parts of the skull. And here's the scanning software in action. I'm selecting feature mode, high accuracy and no colour. So once you're happy with the position, you start the scan, and the green areas are areas that have been scanned. I had the turntable rotating too slowly in these early scans. It worked better if you speeded it up a bit. And in fact I scanned this skull I don't know how many times in the end just to get it perfect. But it does take a lot of practice, but in the end the results were amazing. If it shows up red, that's areas of overexposure. So you might need to either turn down the exposure setting or move the scanner a bit further away. If it goes red, it shows it's lost track. Eventually you end up with a point cloud, which you can fuse together. One thing I did use was this Apblime scanning spray. And what this did was it just took the shine off the teeth and made them easier to scan. You can see here I'm trying different angles of scanning. By standing it upright, I was able to get a bit more detail on the actual teeth. There we go, just showing that scanning in vertical mode, so to speak. You can see I'm getting the occlusal surfaces of the teeth a lot better by doing it like this. But the best thing is to try and work out how to scan the whole skull in the minimum number of passes, really. But look at that. That's it, the scan afterwards, and you can see the detail that it's captured. Absolutely amazing. Really fantastic. I was blown away with how good this is. Here it is in Mesh Mixer. Just checking it over. And if you have a few anomalies, a few little artifacts cropping up, you can actually smooth those out in Mesh Mixer, which is free software. But I couldn't stop looking at these scans because of the detail. Then I scanned the lower jaw, the mandible. Same process, lots of different angles. And there it is, scanned in the scanning software. And there it is in the slicing software, ready to be printed out in resin. The other thing I did was combine the upper and lower jaw in Mesh Mixer, put them together, so that I could produce 3 different files: the top jaw, bottom jaw, and the 2 combined. This is the Creality Halo 1 resin printer. That's the Halo 1 Plus. And this is the finished print of the upper and lower jaw combined. And you can see all the support structures there. This was another 2 more prints of the separate jaws when they're all cleaned up. And there's the original skull. This isn't the best resin to show this, really. The white resin, this is the water washable resin, and it doesn't really show the detail terribly well. But it all clipped together very nicely, exactly like the actual original skull did. You can see the teeth all locked together perfectly. But really delighted with that. Just what I've been after, something like this. Lots of creative possibilities with one of these. And of course you can resize these files so you could print it out at any scale. There's the original skull. And then it will transform by magic into the resin printed skull. That just shows what you can do. But it does take a bit of time and a bit of practice. This is a different skull, another mustelid. This is an American mink skull, I believe, that I was given. This is a much smaller skull. It's about 1/3 the size. And here's the scanning process. Much smaller and more detailed in many ways because of the smaller scale. And I did the same process, although I did scan upper and lower jaws together on this one as well as doing them separate. But you have to fuse the point cloud. I've sped this up a bit. It can take a long time for the software to process these files. And then once you're happy, you can save it. What I did with this little skull in the end was I did 2 separate scans. I did a scan of the top of it, did various passes of the top, which I saved as the fuse plier saved the point cloud. And then what I did was flipped it over and did another scan of the underside of the skull. and repeated the process. You can see me here, I'm just turning it over. There I am scanning the underside. But I saved these scans in various stages. And here I am in the Revopoint studio. So I've got the two scans. And some of the scans are better for certain aspects than others. So what I did was combine the two scans to form one single, more detailed and complete scan. And in fact, I think here I'm actually combining a third scan just to complete the picture. So although this is a very, very complex shape, I managed to get the entire shape scanned. So once you've put the scans together, you can analyse them, get rid of any overlaps, and then process the point cloud and mesh, produce a mesh, which I then save as an STL. But here's the original little skull. And here it is in resin. But very, very pleased. This is a tiny little object and it managed to scan it, which is very, very impressive. Hello folks, I'm up in my loft space and you might be able to hear a bit of rumbling going on. There's a bit of a thunderstorm going on outside. But anyway, this is the Revopoint Mini 3D scanner. And thank you very much to Revopoint for sending this to me. I've had great fun using this. I've been really interested in these 3D scanners for a long time, even before I had a 3D printer, and I've used 3D scanners professionally, 3D scanners costing tens of thousands of pounds. So I was quite interested to see how well this would perform. And I have to say, it's been brilliant. It's not easy. It takes a bit of practice and trial and error. You won't get perfect scans straight off. It takes quite a lot of thought. You need quite a bit of patience, and you'll expect to redo things and things like that. But if you have the perseverance and the patience, you'll get some really stunning results with this. I got better and better at it as I went on. I've got a few top tips for you to help you get good scans. Well, firstly, have some patience, like I say. Secondly, use a 3D scanning spray, one of these sprays that coats everything, makes it matte white, but it does gradually disappear on its own. It won't damage what you're spraying. So there's A-Sub or Applime, the two that I know of. Works brilliantly and it'll save you a lot of frustration. The other thing is, think about what you're scanning. A complex shape like this is quite tricky to scan compared with a simple shape like the little statuette that comes with the kit. Rumbling away, I don't know if you can hear that. I've got a nice new microphone on now, Lavalier mic, so it may not pick it up, but there's quite a thunderstorm going on. But really, with complex shapes, have a little think about how many angles you're going to have to scan it at to actually capture every part of that shape, and try and minimize the number of scans you do. The more rotations you do of this object, the more chance of error coming into it, or anomalies or artifacts as they're called in scanning terms. So try and keep your scan number down. The other thing is, rather than pausing the scanner and repositioning the model, which is fine with a simple shape, but with a complex shape, if you keep doing that, you can actually if something goes wrong, it can be harder to fix, and also the file size gets bigger and bigger, and the processing time can take a very long time. It can be very slow to process. So what I found was better was if you do the revolution at one angle, then fuse the point cloud, then change your position of your object you're scanning, do another revolution on the turntable, fuse the point cloud. So stop it rather than pausing the scan each time, stop it, fuse the point cloud, then add the next point cloud to that one. It's easier to go back if you're not happy. If it looks like you've got some anomalies cropping up, you can go back to the last time you stopped the scan. And the other thing is, the processing time is a lot shorter if you do it like that, rather than doing loads and loads of different scan angles and then trying to fuse the point cloud at the end, which can take forever to process. Don't think that the app's crashed or anything like that. It just takes a long time to process these files. The final meshing doesn't take long at all, but the actual processing of the point cloud can take quite a long time. What other tips have I got? Turntable speed. Don't have the turntable rotating too slowly. I started off by having a very slow rotation because I thought that I'd get more detail, but in actual fact it threw up quite a few problems in that by the time the model had gone round 360, the model at 0 degrees and 360 degrees didn't always line up, whereas if you speeded up the turntable a little bit, it was actually fine. It was perfect. I didn't have any problems. Take a bit of time looking at the distance away that your scanner is from the object. It does give you an indicator as to whether you're in excellent range or near, too near or too far. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the brightness, the exposure, because that is also very important as well. As I say, I'm very impressed with the quality of the scans I was achieving. The fact that this lower jaw clicks into place and it all articulates perfectly is just amazing. Really, really cool. Very, very pleased with that. And it's brilliant for this size model. The Mini is brilliant at scanning smaller objects, and it does pick up a lot of detail. The turntable is a huge help, and it works brilliantly with the Mini. Revopoint actually make a dual axis turntable that not only rotates but tilts as well, and I think that would be a great addition with the Mini, and it's something I will look at getting at some point. It would have certainly made scanning things like the skulls a lot easier. I haven't tried doing any sort of handheld scanning with it. I've used it on the special little tripod, which I have to say is a brilliant little thing. It's perfect for this. The fact that the height is so easily adjustable makes it really good at getting different angles on the turntable. But I know Revopoint do a handheld stabiliser or a gimbal for it, which I think would be a massive help too. But try, when you get your Revopoint Mini, do try scanning the little statuette. This is put in there as a practice piece. This is the ideal shape, size, texture, colour for the scanner. So it's a really good one to practice on. You won't find it frustrating, and it's a good way of just getting to grips with the software and the scanner. But there's the original and the copy. But the result, quite remarkable really. But I've got lots more things I want to scan, and I've got another video, a follow-up video with the scanner, a Halloween special coming up very, very soon. So I'll see you all then. Thanks for watching. If you fancy having a go at 3D scanning, be sure to check out the links in the video description. There is an affiliate link there. If you use that to purchase a scanner, I do get a small commission, which does help fund my channel. Anyway, many thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with some more videos.
More rubbish coming soon.